Yo, what's up, guys? In this video, we are going to talk a little bit more about Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm gonna just say Ghislaine Maxwell. It's easier to say Ghislaine Maxwell. I know that's not how you say it. Anyway, we're going to talk about her. We're going to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, and specifically, what we're going to talk about is whether or not Ghislaine and Epstein were Mossad agents. So I think this is pretty interesting. Other than watching, hearing it on the news periodically about how this guy was arrested and how he got killed in jail and like all this stuff. I don't really know too much about it. So like Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire. How did he make his billions other than like being a sex trafficker? I really don't know. Not too educated on it. By the way, if you guys have any resources, you're like, oh, because a lot of people commented on my last video. They're like, oh, well, this, and this happened. Like, leave me a link so that I can see the source. Don't just say that, because then I need to like go research it on my own, and it's a disaster. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about whether or not Ghislaine Maxwell is a Mossad agent, or is a Mossad agent, and Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you. Would not be surprised. So, like, full disclosure, I guess, to establish my credibility or lack thereof, I am Jewish. I am an Israeli citizen. I was in the army in Israel. So, like, I have a favorable view of the Mossad. I know a lot of people who probably watch this video will not, but I personally do. But like, let's set that aside for a moment, right? Because like, okay, I have a favorable view of them, but if they actually did traffic minors for sex, that is unethical, and I can come out and say that that's unethical. Now, like, are they actually? Because okay, there's a difference between doing it to like an infant, or a 13-year-old, or like even a 17-year-old, right? Which is legal in some states, but a 17-year-old, you could make the argument that like having sex with a girl who is 17, you should see some of these 17-year-olds, man. I work at the mall. Like, they are not innocent little, children. They are like sexually mature adults. Anyway, not excusing that. Let's look at the bigger picture overall, which is like, because what's the story is like Epstein and Ghislaine had these parties and would bring these girls who were underage and like push them onto these politicians and prominent people who would, whatever, have sex with them. And then the whole thing would be recorded and they would be blackmailed for that or with that information, which is plausible. That's entirely plausible. And that lines up with how intelligence agencies work, right? Spies, what do? Is they run a network of assets, right? Which is basically snitches. And in order to get leverage over the snitches, they basically blackmail them. So anyway, the reason I'm talking about this is because I read this article. Ghislaine Maxwell's arrest for allegedly procuring girls for Jeffrey Epstein spotlights her family history. Father Robert died in a yacht fall after raiding his employees' pensions. So, why did I think this was interesting? Because it talks a lot about this guy, Robert Maxwell, who was born in Czechoslovakia and moved to Britain when he was 16. He was broke. He fought in World War II. I'm just like catching up to speed on this article. But this is what I thought was the most interesting about the article. From there, he built up one of the biggest media and publishing groups in the world. At its peak in the 1980s, he employed 16,000 people in a raft of companies, including blah, 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 newspapers, publishers, and the Berlitz language schools. That's very interesting. Why is that interesting? Because this guy had a major media empire. And in the 1980s, this was before 24-hour news television. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was no CNN. Or if there was CNN, they weren't running 24-hour news. There was no Fox News. There was no like major mainstream media. This guy, you could make the argument, was a pioneer of the mainstream media. One of them, as it is today. And that lines up with his daughter posting a lot, if that Reddit account is actually her Reddit account, that lines up with a lot of the information that she posted, which is basically like 100% pure left, like talking points. Like, Trump did this, it's bad. Like, Trump said this, it's bad. Black Lives Matter, this and that. Like, all of this, like, and I'm not saying like, I don't want to get into the details of that, but basically the major subreddits that Ghislaine Maxwell's account modded for, are like super far left account news information, right? So it's like, okay, that lines up, basically is what I'm trying to say. So now why do I think this is weird? Because, and I know, like, okay, so a lot of you probably will come from poll or frequent poll or are into all this conspiracy story stuff. And if any of you have ever gone on poll on 4chan, like, let's bring it up really quick. One thing that you will know or notice is that there is a ton of anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish stuff over there, which is fine. I get it. You know, I understand. It's how it is, right? I don't want to like get into that right now. But the reason that I think this is interesting is because the sentiment on poll is that there's a lot of like, they're saying that the far left talking points, the liberal agenda, is being pushed by Jews, right? Which, you know, it looks like that's the case if we read this article, and you know, this guy clearly like had a media empire, probably still has his hands in some of the media, you know, that exists today, if not a lot of it. Or has ties to it, plus his daughter's posting all these far left talking points. It makes sense that that would be the case, right? That like, okay, well, it's all these Jews, like, you know, trying to like weaken America and like destroy the white race and like promote black people and minorities in favor of Jews and like all this transsexual stuff, right? They're trying to like weaken the fabric of American culture. That's like the argument on poll. Now, like I said, if you look at this article and you take it for face value, that seems like it would make sense. Here's where it doesn't really line up, which is that Israel, like conservative Jews and most Israelis, they hate the far left. They fucking hate the far left. Hate them with a passion. They love Trump. They fucking love Trump. They think Trump is fucking like, they're like the people who support Trump in America, like the Israelis who like Trump or conservative Israelis, they're like on the same level. They fucking love Trump. And they hate the far left. They fucking hate liberals. They hated Obama. Like they're not on the same side. So here's what I don't understand. If these people, if like Ghislaine, here let's do it like this. I'm gonna make a little thing in Microsoft Paint here, right? So let's say we have like the far left, right? Israel Mossad. Okay, these are not on the same side. Okay, like I don't care. Like, okay, you came from poll, you know, whatever. You think I'm wrong, but like I'm telling you. Oops. These are not on the same side. It's not looking good. These are on opposite sides, okay? So, on the far left, you have mainstream media and Maxwell Hill, the Reddit account, right? Reddit, basically. Reddit, also. Oops. What else? Like, mainstream media, I guess that's like, we'll just list them here, like CNN, NBC, CNBC, you know, fucking, I don't know, what else is there? Washington Post, right? And this is, I wrote the far left. It's probably not the far left. Maybe it's better to say, like, liberal agenda, for lack of a better explanation. Oh, how about, let's see here. Let's do... liberal agenda. Let's just write that. And like, I don't want to like get too deep into it. Okay. So then we have over here, Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, and also let's well, I guess we can't have that guy, right? And what's this guy's name? Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell, Mossad, conservatives, Trump. I guess we could put poll over here. Well, see, that's the thing. Is like, I guess we'll make another category for poll, right? Because like what poll doesn't understand is that they have a lot of the same. Israel's also a very nationalistic country, super nationalist, you know? Anyway, we won't get into that right now. But so anyway, what's the problem is that this is the same person, arguably. This person is on both sides, you know? And if Ghislaine Maxwell is Maxwell Hill, and they're promoting the liberal agenda, and they're funded by the Mossad or supported by the Mossad, then this is like the stuff that Maxwell Hill is doing is directly going against the interests of this side that she is supposedly on. That's what doesn't make sense to me, right? So here's what I was thinking. This is what I was thinking could be possible, is that Ghislaine Maxwell, right, because of, you know, the connections that her dad had in the media industry and like all this stuff, she was like set up as or set to like infiltrate Reddit and the liberal agenda side or team or whatever, to like achieve a prominent position over there in order to feed information back to this side, right? That's like what I'm thinking now, but even that doesn't really make sense, to be honest with you, because wouldn't people figure that out eventually? Like, wouldn't people figure out that, like, don't they, isn't it, it's common knowledge, isn't it? Like, she was on the news talking about how her dad was in the Mossad and got murdered in the 90s. So like the liberal agenda, why are they tolerating her presence, I guess, just for her like underage sex parties? The point is this, right? The point is that people are getting too caught up in the small details, right? And again, I don't want to excuse if you know, any sort of like, if they actually were providing minors for sex trafficking, but like that's a small part of the bigger picture, right? Yeah, okay, we all want everybody to be held accountable for their crimes and blah blah blah, but like that's not what's really going on here, right? Let's figure out what really is going on in terms of the bigger picture, and then we can make sense of the smaller thing, right? If you just focus on the smaller thing, which I think is what this side wants you to focus on, right? And this, I think we can say, like, I don't know about you, but this is the evil side, really, for real, like straight up. I'm gonna say this is the bad side right here, because this is the side that's shutting down society. They don't fucking care about like what you're doing, and they're spreading mass like disinformation. So this is like, I'm even gonna write it over here. Please don't assassinate me, Hillary. Bad. And then Israel Mossad, I'm gonna write unclear, okay? And I'm gonna write it in green because I'm biased. Fine, I'm biased. Go ahead. Unclear. But this, like, and oh, okay, fine, maybe this is also bad, but like this is, or maybe this one is also bad, but like this one is clearly bad, right? This one is trying to fucking straight up instigate fucked up shit, trying to instigate fucking protest, like trying to make change happen, like negative change. Shutting down the economy, like I don't care what your fucking political affiliation is, shutting down the economy for some fucking overblown, exaggerated, fake pandemic virus, that's bad. Really, that is not good. Trying to fucking stir up violent protests and looting and rioting is also bad. Okay, yeah, George Floyd sucks, the guy was fucking murdered, but like it's not good to fucking use your massive reach to fucking destroy like the country. It's just not good. This side, yeah, okay, it's also not good to like provide minors for sex parties and blackmail politicians for that. That's also not good, but I would argue, and like, fine, I can see the comments now, like, you're just supporting sex trafficking because you're a Jew, you're probably in the fucking Mossad too. Yeah, I'm in the Mossad. Great fucking argument there. But anyway, you could argue that the scale is not as bad, right? And fine, like I said, I'm not excusing it, but I think it's more important here, instead of focusing on like the tiny detail of providing minors for like sex trafficking, which is important, fine, I'm not saying it's not. I think it's more important to look at the big picture and figure out what's actually going on here. And currently, I do not know. I really don't, because it's not clear. Because if we look at this side, right, if we look at like this side, right, they are all pushing the coronavirus narrative. But why? Why are they pushing the coronavirus narrative? That's the real important thing. You know, why is that happening? It's not clear why they're doing that. You know, not that this side isn't, but this side is clearly doing it. So like, is it all connected? Anyway, what else was there on here? It's like anti-Israel stuff. What was this? Blackmailing politicians for Israel's Mossad new book claims. Yeah, this is not. It's not unplausible, it's plausible that that could be the case. Like I said earlier, because that's what intelligence agencies do. That's what spies do, is they get leverage over key people, and fucking blackmail them with shit to get information to fucking fuck shit up. But like, what are they trying to do? Because look, here's what it is at the end of the day, right? And you can, say whatever you want about this, and I'm biased for sure, but I believe, and I could be totally wrong, I could be fooled 100%, but I really do believe that the Mossad, they act, well, obviously they act with Israel's best interests at heart, and I also believe that, I was going to say that they act, that they're ethical, right? But like, obviously you have to, it's not always going to be one or the other, right? Sometimes you're going, arguably, like you work for an intelligence agency, you're going to have to bend the rules. Any intelligence agency, you're going to have to, because what's the nature of being a spy is that you lie, you fucking scam people, you blackmail people. That's unethical, right? Okay, it's for the greater good, but to do the greater good, you have to do bad things along the way. So like, I don't know, I just think there's more to the story. If you have any information or any links that have anything to do with what I said, that talk about the bigger picture, the connection between the mainstream media, power mods on Reddit, and I guess like high level, I don't want to say Jews, but like high level powerful people in the media, let me know, leave me a comment, post me links to your sources also, so I don't talk out of my ass, and that's it. Peace.